Oh, the needy guest. As if this guest needs any introduction. No matter what type of restaurant concept you work at, no one is safe from the guest who requires constant attention and always, always needs something. They ask way too many questions over one dish, want numerous food modifications, love sharing long, detailed stories with you about them, and my absolute favorite, requesting one item at a time instead of all together. You go to their table, they need one thing. You walk to the kitchen and grab it. You go back to their table. Oh, they need something else too. And so the endless cycle begins. Am I right? The needy guest isn't limited to these characteristics, but it covers a few very classic behaviors. How do we keep needy guests from walking all over us when they demand so much of our time and attention? Let's get into it. Number 1, you can be polite and firm at the same time. I was greeting on a Friday night and a woman, already on the wait list, kept checking every single time a table got up to see if it was hers. She would not stop interrupting us as we talked with new guests. I finally stepped in. I said, "Ma'am, there are a few more tables ahead of you. I promise I will let you know the moment your table is ready." She just smiled and said thanks for taking care of us. Don't let guests walk all over you, especially when you're balancing serving multiple guests at a time. Show that you are in control of the situation, genuinely care, and most will relax. Number 2, be honest and give options. Do your best to honor guest requests, but know that you won't be able to say yes to everything. At a fine dining restaurant I worked at, we had a reservation system that allowed us to add in guest notes. I am not exaggerating when I tell you there was an essay written below one of the guests' names. It had the recipe of a very specific bar drink they liked. This would take the bartender more time to make, meanwhile causing other tickets to pile up. I noticed the bartenders would say, "I have your favorite drink written here. It will take about 10 minutes for me to make, or I can pour you a glass of wine right now. If you don't mind waiting, I'll be happy to make it for you." By setting expectations and providing options up front, it was a win-win. The guest got a choice, and the bartender wouldn't have a grumpy, impatient guest on their hands. Just make sure to have an option in your back pocket to show you're genuinely doing your best to take care of them. Number 3, help guests keep themselves organized. I no longer play the game where a guest asks me for something, I go get it, they ask me for something else, I go get it, and then 5 minutes have gone by and I've neglected the rest of my section. My other guests shouldn't have to suffer getting quality customer service just because these needy guests can't stay organized enough to ask me all of their requests at once. I understand 2 trips to get guest things, but 3 or 4 is a little bit much. This one sentence has saved me so much time. After a request is made, I say absolutely and then pause. What else can I get for you? I pause again while they think, and then I go get what they need. It's amazing. That question, coupled with the pause, actually gets guests to tell you everything they need before you walk away. Help guests keep themselves organized, and you will save yourself so many steps and headaches. If this tactic doesn't work, I usually take a little longer to get what they need or ask a coworker to drop it off instead. I have other tables whose requests I have to prioritize too. There are so many stories I could share about needy guests, and I can only imagine how many you have as well. Remember, you have to calmly and confidently remain in control when needy guests demand your time and attention. To recap, be polite and firm at the same time. Be honest and give options. And help guests keep themselves organized. Don't let guests walk all over you. I heard a server say this, and it's absolutely true. You can't give 100% attention to one table because that's 100% neglect to all of your other tables. The same is true for greeters and bartenders. You can't let one guest monopolize your time at the risk of hurting the experience of your other guests. The needy guests may feel like an inconvenience, but once you know how to relate to them, they're just like any other guest. They want to be taken care of and have a positive, memorable experience.